on Torts, we actually talked about several different topics, but we went through those topics pretty quickly. So I'm going to do a short little episode for each of those topics. The first is trespass to land, the second will be trespass to chattels, and then the third is going to be conversion. And those are going to be the three things that I cover, not necessarily in this episode. This one's going to be focusing only on trespass to land. So there are three cases that we read. There's Daugherty v. Stepp, and this is the old timers case of how do you define trespass to land. Well, trespass to land is, back in the day, was seen as wealth. You're very wealthy if you had land. I think, of course, that's still a little bit true today. But the trespass to land was much more protected than other forms of property because land denoted wealth. And so in Daugherty v. Stepp, what happened is that an individual walked onto the land and he surveyed it. He claimed a part of it. He didn't mark anything, but he claimed a part of it as his land, and then he walked off the land. There was no damage to the shrubbery or anything like that. But the court held that this was considered trespass. The land wasn't marked in any way by the original owner, or by the actual property owner, I should say. It wasn't enclosed in any fences, but yet he still had a right to his land. In Heron v. Sutherland, we learn the court uses this principle of the trespass can extend to the depths of the earth and into the sky. In this case, a person was on another piece of property and he was shooting waterfowl, and the bullets were passing over the land of the person who is claiming trespass in this case. What happens in this case is the court says that yes, it extends to the sky. A lot of developments over time have limited this principle, however, because now with mining rights, with the water table, and with air travel, you can't extend property rights all the way into space or all the way to the center of the earth, because there are things that end up happening that may need to restrict those rights. So there are limitations on the depths and the sky, but for the most part, the limbs that are hanging over the land could denote being close enough to the land, even if it's not directly on the ground. Finally, we have Rogers v. Board of Road Commissioners for Kent County. What happened in this case is that you can overstay your trespass on the land. So the defendant in this instance had permission to be on the property, with the understanding that they would remove items from the property after their time on the property was over. And they failed to remove some certain items on the property. And the plaintiff's husband in this instance was taking care of the property, and he mowed over one of the objects that was left on the property, threw him from the lawnmower, and he ended up passing from this accident. And so the principle, the takeaway here, is that you can continue to trespass, and that is overstaying your time on the property. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Law Schoolers. Before I let you go, there are 4 things I want to say. The first thing is, if you enjoyed these episodes and if you enjoyed the website, I would invite you to go and join Law Schoolers Pro. And you can do that by going to lawschoolers.com/join. It's a way for you to support us, but there's also a lot of features there that I think you will enjoy. Second thing is that nearly all of our episodes are unedited. The only ones that aren't are pre-law materials, and the reason for that is so you can actually see the legal material in its raw form as I'm learning it as well. The third thing is that the information contained in these episodes are specifically only for educational purposes. They're not to be used as legal advice, and with that, the fourth thing is, if it is used as legal advice, we are not liable. That is, Law Schoolers is not liable for any legal outcomes. Thank you again for enjoying the show. Have a good one.